Angela Fazio is an industry powerhouse who has overseen 40,000 homes sold and $9 billion in production. And Kristen Cantrell is one of the nation's most accomplished team leaders, helping thousands of agents build their businesses. They are passionate about educating, encouraging, and empowering moms in real estate. Our next episode starts now.
Hey ladies, welcome to Moms in Real Estate. It's Kristen Cantrell.
And I'm Angela Fazio. This week's guest is Michelle Jones.
And Michelle her story is really cool, you guys, because she's been in real estate for 7 years and she built her business in Peoria, Illinois. And now she's moved to Arizona and she's in the rebuilding phase right now, only 30 days in. So I can't wait to talk to her because I know a lot of people that have gone through this exact thing or about to go through it. So Michelle, get us started. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Thanks guys so much for having me on today. I'm really excited to be here. I have been in the business for 7, almost 8 years now. Really honestly, just getting started in the business. I was really young. I know that you can get licensed now at 18, but when I got licensed at 21, which was the age you had to be to get your license. So I was really young in the business, didn't really know what I was going to do with it. And it was a time in my life where I was working in customer service. I was in management there. And I was pretty confident that I was going to work my way up the ladder there. And, I'd be happy doing that. And that's what I was going to do. And real estate kind of fell into my lap. And at that point, I was kind of like, well, I have nothing to lose. I'm young. I'm 21. I'm just going to go for it. And so went for it. Ended up having a pretty successful first year for an individual agent. And I got pregnant with my son at that time. And, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. Wasn't sure if I was going to stay in the business. I ended up deciding, I really want to give this a go. I joined a team and I flourished, in the 5 to 6 years after that. So that was super, super exciting. A lot of growth, a lot of education.
Let's pause there real quick because I want to go back to, you're 21 years old and your first year, you said you had a lot of success.
Yeah.
What do you feel like you did in your first year to get a lot of success at such a young age?
I would say I bought in,
I like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really, really just buying into, the whole idea of this is what I'm going to do. If I'm going to do it, I'm not going to BS it.
Mm-hmm.
You just really give it your all, lean into learnings. I know a lot of different brokerages offer different trainings and different mentorships, lean into that. And really when you're getting your license, look for that in a brokerage. And so I did a lot of that. I made myself a staple in the office. So like when leads would come in or people would pop in, they'd come to me. And
Nice.
I asked a lot of questions in my first year. So I think that's where a lot of that success came from.
And then so you said you had your first baby and then you got onto a team. So tell us kind of like how did, becoming a new mother and then going on a team, you get this support system that you really, really need. And you said you just flourished, which we love that word.
We love that
our
word.
event. But tell us a little bit, like, how did that change your dynamic? Because I do feel like people, when they have kids, they do go towards a team. And I do feel like that's so important. So go ahead and tell us about that.
Well, for me, I love structure and I really love support and I'm a team player. I like to be around people. I do really well when I'm able to like connect with people. And I feel like in real estate, a lot of times people get into the business because they want the freedom, they want the flexibility. And sometimes a team can kind of have this air of it doesn't offer that. But I still got a lot of that out of it. And I got, even more of the training that I was talking about, more of the support. And that was really, really important to me because I knew, before it was just me, I was young, I was 21, I didn't really have a lot to lose, but now I've got a life that I have to support and I have to show up for that person. And for me, being on a team just gave me that.
Well, you seem so focused. I'm jealous.
I know. I was like,
girl, you're focused. That's awesome.
I do love that you said like when you were 21, it was like you had nothing to lose. And I feel like that was such a fun time for me because I would just like try everything and throw it out if I didn't like it. And I just spent I spent 7 years doing that.
You did. I never did that.
I did.
That's so interesting. I love that about you.
I will say this about, myself and my age and where my mindset was at that age is that, I did go to my college in my hometown, but it was a junior college. And I wasn't on a path to go to, a 4-year university. I didn't really have an idea of what I wanted to do as far as getting a degree or, that traditional route of this is what you do. And so for me, real estate at that time, it really gave me kind of like a clear idea of how I could build my life. And so that's why it was so like capture this moment, take the opportunity, because it was a clearer picture that direction versus, fumbling around at a college, getting a degree that I didn't know what I was going to do with it,
It does feel good to have to identify a purpose, right?
Oh my gosh,
or identify
yes.
a path and to have that surety in your life that you're going down a path, whatever it is,
because so many people go to college. This is me. I went to college, didn't know what I was going to do, but you go to college, and when you don't know what you want to do, what do? You get a business communications degree. And I feel like that's such a bad mentality to have. Like, you're just wasting money.
I know this is totally off topic, but when I met my husband, I was so narrow-minded. I thought everyone was supposed to go to college.
So did I.
I totally thought that was, if you didn't go to college, it was a huge mistake. And he's brilliant and never went to college. And I just thought you that's what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And now I look back on that. What a joke that I thought that. Mm-hmm. It's such a joke because you just need a purpose and you need a path. It doesn't have to be the particular path.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that 100%. And I'll be honest, I didn't go to college because it's expensive.
Yeah.
It's incredibly expensive to go to college. And, my mom wasn't really in a position to take out $100,000 loan when she knew I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Of course, at the time at like 19, I was like, gosh, Mom, come on. I'm so grateful that I do not have a lot of college debt now. So thanks, Mom.
For sure. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, now she's
have her listen to it.
Oh my gosh, I love those moments when you're like, oh, now I get it, Mom.
Yeah. You are smart. Weird.
So tell us, like, now you're here in Arizona and it's been 30 days. How are you focusing on rebuilding your business?
So I would say right now, I'm going back to square one, really.
Yes,
and that is after being in the business for as long as I have been and really feeling like I've built a successful business and really built a big sphere of influence back home. Being here, it's kind of like, well, got to start over. But whereas that would normally kind of scare me, I'm leaning into it. Leaning into the foundation of what was able for me to build my business back home and leaning into, getting back into the nitty gritty of real estate. So it's fun. And it's an experience.
You know what's cool about it though? You don't have to really start over. You are starting from square one, but you still have the confidence, the ability, the background knowledge, the experience. And so I feel like, as long as you don't tap out in the meet the people portion, you have such a leg up on than the first time around, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
You really do. And you're at a brokerage that has a lot of education, thankfully. I actually met a girl who had moved into a new city, and she had to build her whole business not knowing one person. And she would film herself and her husband on YouTube. And it was all like their experiences about living in whatever city they lived in. Her first year, she didn't sell anything until 9 months. And then from 9 months to her second year, she iconed at EXP. She sold 42 homes in that time frame. Every single one was a buyer, every single one from YouTube. So
I love those stories.
I love her. She's so cute. And so it's like there's so many different cool, unique ways for you to build a business if you don't have a center of influence. But it's like, what are you focusing on? So do you have something like you're like, I'm going to go with YouTube, or are you going to go with, farming your area? What are you going to really focus on?
So right now I'm focusing on a lot of calls, making connections with people. Absolutely. I think that social media, whatever platform you choose to use, just use it to the best of your ability, whether that's Instagram, TikTok, anything. It could be anything. Really leaning into that is going to be a big goal of mine for this next year, because, as we continue on, home buyers are getting younger. I mean, they're staying the same age too, but a lot of people that are coming into the market, they want to have that connection with people. They don't want people to, just be like, hey, how you doing? Or you want to buy a house?
Nobody wants that.
Nobody does.
No. So,
Even us old people
they
don't want that.
No. And so they want people that they can look at, they can find that have, a bigger platform or a social media presence of some sort, that they can look at you and say, I like you. I want to work with you. And so, yeah, I think that's going to be a huge focus of mine. And honestly, I love that I don't really know anyone here, because who's going to judge me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Good point. Speaking of mindset, because you obviously work on yours, like that's a really good mindset that you just mentioned. Talk to us about the market and the way that, because a lot of people are freaking out, and I've been in this business since 2001, and I've seen a lot of markets, and there's two different responses in a changing market. Head in the sand, I'm paralyzed, it's the market, or people who rise up and thrive. So talk to us a little bit about that. Help our audience out.
I will say I do feel like I have a little bit of an advantage than I know there's a lot of agents that entered our industry within the last year or two, when it was, a huge seller's market. And honestly, there was a lot of low hanging fruit in the market. And so it was easy to get in, and it was easy to get busy. And so I do feel like I have, the advantage of having the experience of not being in a seller's market. When I first got into the industry, it was very heavily a buyer's market. It was, very much, you had to go out and you had to, find the people that were motivated to move. And so I'm actually kind of excited to get back to that. And here's the thing, whenever there's a change, whenever there's a shift, like you said, you can do, one of two things. You can bury your head in the sand, or, you can rise up. And something for me that's been super important for the last year or so, and I've really, really been working on, is leaning into, the fear, and leaning into, I don't really want to do this. I know I should do it, but it would be so much easier to do this. Don't do what's easy. Don't do what's easy. Do what is going to propel you forward. Because honestly, if you take a step towards that goal, you're so much further along than the person that decided to, check out.
Yeah,
so much
many people are checking out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. When I first started in real estate, it seemed like real estate agents, even on a yearly basis, would start to check out around Thanksgiving and would wake up, January 1st. Now they go to sleep like mid-October.
I know.
Like they go to sleep mid-October, and they don't wake up until, halfway through January. And it's such an opportunity for those of us who refuse to accept that mentality. If you just refuse to fall into that trap, or refuse to give into the chatter around you, all of a sudden there's opportunity everywhere, because everyone else is not paying attention.
Well, and the other thing too, that I think a lot of people overlook, but it is super a simplistic, concept, is that the people that are buying, when most people are buying or selling, when most people check out, are the people that have to move.
Exactly. They're the most serious.
Yeah.
Yes. They're motivated. Go take them.
Nobody's looking at houses between Thanksgiving and Christmas because they're looky-loos.
Yeah.
They're motivated. They gotta
motivated.
move, right?
Absolutely.
And that's fun to work with motivated people. It's really fun.
Is.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your kids.
Yeah. So I have two. My son will be 6 in March, and my spunky little girl is 3. And they're wonderful. And honestly, I really think they have kept me in the business. They've given me kind of that drive to stay committed to my goals. And I just love that my husband and I are able to create experiences for them, experiences that, he and I maybe not were able to have when we were kids. And honestly, even just something like moving to a new state and picking up a new life and building something, from the ground up is just something that is just kind of lights me on fire. And so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that when people talk about motivation, you can't be. I don't think you can motivate people. I think that you motivate yourself, and you said something that's interesting. Is you found a source. There's not just one, but you found a source of motivation, and that's where a lot of people fall short in real estate. They burn out, or they fail, or they quit because they are either depending on other people to motivate them, right? Or something outside of themselves, when really you've just got to identify those things that drive you to go through the process, to embrace the process, because it's freaking hard to do real estate. It's hard.
It is hard. And don't get me wrong, I'm not motivated every single day.
No one is.
No. And I think it's unrealistic to expect to be motivated every single day. But I know that, one day, okay, cool. But coming home to my kids and not being able to fulfill on a promise because I decided that I didn't feel like making calls today, or I didn't feel like, engaging with people or putting myself out there. I don't want to do that, know? And I would rather go make myself uncomfortable than make them uncomfortable.
I like that. That's a good mindset.
It really is. And I think that, okay, so we do something really fun at the end of each podcast. So I don't know if you need to come up with one, and I'll come up with one.
Okay.
So you have to finish our sentences, okay?
I'm nervous now.
I know. Now you're probably sweating. Okay, this is the hardest part. Finish my sentence. So
Okay.
my word for 2023 is?
I have to go now.
Yeah.
Okay. My word for 2023 is, the first word I thought of is thrive.
Yeah, I like that.
That's the first word I thought of.
Good. That's what you're supposed to do. Whatever pops in your head.
Thrive.
Okay. Okay. Mine is, being authentic means.
Being authentic means being true to yourself. That's what came to my mind. And when I say that, I mean, what's in your heart, what you feel inside. And I feel like so many times people quiet that voice inside them because it doesn't fit whatever narrative, they've come up with, or that society has come up with. Be true to that voice.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That's hard to do for some people.
It is hard to do. It's something I am actively working on.
I think it's something
right
everyone should be actively working on.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Yes.
agree.
When you just want to swallow that word, and not for the sake of being unkind or anything like that, but just because of judgment or just it's uncomfortable, or it's not popular.
Mm-hmm.
It gets way older. I mean, it gets way easier as you get older.
Yeah.
Way easier.
I've learned that. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. You've been a wonderful guest, and
Thank you.
I wish you, I pray blessing on your business, and I hope it blows up out there, and let us know if we can help you in any way.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you inviting me on here.
Of course.
You're welcome.
And audience, save the date. May 4th and 5th is our next Flourish. Kristen and I have such great plans this time that are even far better than the past times. I'm so excited for you ladies to join us. So the tickets are on sale now, even though all the details aren't laid out, but please go to theflourishevent.com and get your tickets. Thanks, guys.
Angela Fazio is an industry powerhouse who has overseen 40,000 homes sold and $9 billion in production. And Kristen Cantrell is one of the nation's most accomplished team leaders, helping thousands of agents build their businesses. They are passionate about educating, encouraging, and empowering moms in real estate. Our next episode starts now.